Bianca Belair, one of the most overrated, unlikable talents WWE probably ever had. She is WWE's equivalent to Captain Marvel. Just like Carol Danvers is Marvel's hand-picked gal to be their face of superheroes, Triple H hand-picked Bianca to be the face of WWE through thick and thin, through good times and bad. Like the match made in heaven. Bianca and Captain Marvel have a lot in common. They have no weaknesses, no character, no positive qualities that make you even slightly intrigued. Their creators just beat us over the head with them, again and again and again, because they expect piles of money to fall from the ceiling, someday. Someday it will happen. But before I say any more, let me say that I have no problem with her being black. I shouldn't even have to discuss her race at all, but I do. I have a problem with the idea that being black has to be the most important thing about her. Not her character, but her color, which completely throws everything back in Martin Luther King's face after all these years WWE has celebrated his holiday and all. Black wrestlers in WWE is not a new concept. There always has been a list of black wrestlers that Vince McMahon has tried to get the most mileage out of. From Coco Beware, to Virgil, to Viscera, to Ahmed Johnson, to more successful ones like The Rock, Farouk, Mark Henry, Booker T and Bobby Lashley. They were not marketed as black characters for black audiences. They were wrestlers for all audiences, and they just happened to be black. So in the same company that produced characters like the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, the world's strongest man, and the five-time WCW champion, we have Cheer for Me Because I'm Black. Like what? I don't get it.
Oh, I'm black in America. Oh, and a little rain cloud, you put your umbrella up and the lightning strikes that little umbrella and the rain just falls on your head and then your hat's all soggy over your face. Oh, you guys go ahead. I'll just stay here and be black. Oh, shut the fuck up.
I don't see how trying to appeal to just one group of people is going to help a company like WWE. It's not that Triple H doesn't know that this race hustling doesn't work, but he just doesn't care. He's not one that cares about finances as much as Vince McMahon does. He knows that nobody is going to care about a faction whose only selling point is their Latino. Latino wrestlers have been a thing in America since the 90s, so they should have no excuses now. So what does Triple H do? Slap a nostalgic label on them, which has nothing at all to do with the group itself getting over. Why can't these eggheads in power just think of good stories like they have to for everybody else, rather than just I'm a minority, I deserve this, I deserve that. Oh, and while I'm on the topic, there's nothing more irritating than the live crowds today that chant, "You deserve it" at every wrestler that wins a title like they're a 7-year-old that scored a touchdown on a bunch of maskets. I'd like to visualize a scenario where these fans would chant "You deserve it" to Steve Austin during the Attitude Era. I wonder what his reaction would be. Bianca Belair did not always have a race-hustling gimmick though. She had a good character in NXT. I liked it. She was a heel, and she looked like a character you love to hate, like a female Ratchet Jock fusion. But with Triple H and Stephanie's infinite wisdom, they scrap the character, they make her a babyface ballet for the Street Profits, and then 5 minutes later, they go "Congratulations, you're going to win the Royal Rumble." And people still had problems when Vince McMahon decided on John Cena and Roman Reigns, but they had to go through a process in order to earn their place after a few years. Bianca's push was as instant as a microwavable Pop-Tart. I thought if there was anyone that made the most sense to win the 2021 Royal Rumble, it was Rhea Ripley. But of course not, because she's the wrong identity. When Bianca won the Royal Rumble, I was like, well, maybe they have a plan. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe there's some exciting story that they can only tell with her. Instead, their bright idea was putting her in a love triangle with Sasha Banks and Reggie. Then they scrapped that idea, but then they announced this match was going to main event night 1 of WrestleMania, not because they had a storyline they worked so hard on, not because these are 2 of the biggest stars in the company, but just because they're black. And why? So that ESPN can give them a fake award. That and other political reasons. It was nothing more than a political stunt, and it's astounding how the McMahons were willing to abandon so much just for one person on the roster that hasn't proven herself. Especially during a time in which people could use entertainment to distract them from the real-life trouble outside their homes. She wasn't ready. She still doesn't seem ready. She still doesn't have a discerning character to this day. She still doesn't know how to cut promos to this day. She still doesn't know how to work in her matches to this day. She still doesn't get organic reactions from the live crowd to this day. And the cherry on top is that she's severely injured Becky, Carmella and Bayley just in the past year. And we're supposed to be convinced how she's the next Trish Stratus. How? It's as if she has this special privilege that decrees that whatever she's capable of is good enough for them, and that's a mistake. Bianca is one of the most privileged wrestlers in the company, and her life has had nothing but success. She is not some oppressed individual that's had to overcome adversity like WWE wants you to believe. She's practically the worst example you could possibly show about how quote white privilege is rampant in America today, considering her athletic background led her to become a WWE wrestler in the first place. The truth is, she gets away with so much that other wrestlers got fired over in the past. Mr. Kennedy is the one that comes to mind that got fired immediately after an injury scare involving Randy Orton during a match on Raw in 2009. But Bianca can injure 3 women, and nothing will happen to her. It's a miracle how she has yet to injure somebody with her 450 splash, because she looks like a flopping fish with her arms spread out, and how off axis she is. It looks incredibly dangerous. There was a time in which the 450 splash and the shooting star press were both banned because they would cause serious injuries. I legit remember Evan Bourne saying he had to perform the move perfectly a series of times in front of coaches in order for him to use the move again. They no longer have that sense of quality control with Bianca, and that's a mistake. Bianca also has a tendency of talking way too fast during her promos, and there has apparently been no sign of this improving. But imagine if somebody like Nikki Cross or Piper Niven were to have this problem, they would likely be put on the chopping block. Even Asuka and Shinsuke Nakamura, when they're speaking in English, they know to talk slowly so that the audience can understand them. So needless to say, WWE is applauding mediocrity. I understand that not every wrestler in WWE needs to have all these traits. Cena was not known as a technical genius, and Mysterio is not known as a good talker. But there are other wrestlers that work matches, cut promos and get big reactions a lot better than Bianca, so why aren't they getting her spot? There's equality and then there's equity. Equality means everyone gets an opportunity, but only the most marketable get the biggest spotlights. That's fair, and many wrestlers no matter their background have passed this test. Instead, Triple H believes in equity. With equity, you need to treat other people unfairly in order for the people you want to get the desired results. Which means Triple H doesn't care to do anything meaningful with anyone other than Bianca. He is not about rewarding success, he is about punishing successful people and trying to catch lightning in a bottle when it comes to unsuccessful people. Nikki Cross will get repackaged and seem important for 1 week and then fall off the map because she gets lost in the shuffle from however many talents Triple H decides to rehire. She was far more relevant when she was Nikki ASH. That's just a fact. How many other women used to be relevant before Triple H took over creative? When it's eventually their turn to take Bianca on for her championship, they are not better off, they are worse off. Every single opponent that Bianca has faced gets depreciated. Becky Lynch, Bayley, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, Piper Niven, Io Sky, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, the list goes on and on. Nobody has come out of a Bianca match a better wrestler or a better character than before. They become weaker, they become less valuable. Say what you will about John Cena and Hulk Hogan, they have been able to make wrestlers better heroes or villains and more memorable characters by working with them. It's because of Cena that guys like Randy Orton and Edge were great heels. It's because of Hogan that guys like Sting and Goldberg were great babyfaces. Bianca can't do that because WWE protects her that much. She has to look good at the expense of everyone else. She's treated like she's some god that doesn't have any weaknesses and can't show any signs of defeat. She acts like a brat that always gets her way, she can't be talked down to, she can't lose a match dirty. She's like Stephanie if she were a pro wrestler. If any other woman gets a shred of momentum, Bianca squashes it, and nobody is convinced nowadays that she can be beat for her title. Bianca has no challengers, everyone is just a victim. Just think of all the women that Becky Lynch alone helped. Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Nia Jax, Asuka, Liv Morgan, Lacey Evans. And who does Bianca put over? Nobody. Because we all know, everybody else has to put over her. Bayley can get Dakota and Io to interfere, and Bianca would still handle them 3-on-1. It's so incredibly predictable and unrealistic. This does not make good storytelling or entertainment. I don't even remember any good storyline she's had. The cringiest thing that stands out was how she lost to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam, and how the narrative was that it wasn't fair, she wasn't prepared to face Becky, it wasn't fair. That was so stupid. She might as well face Roman Reigns. I'm dead serious. She would win. Roman would be a victim standing next to her. Make it a 9-on-1 match. Make it a 2-hour cinematic spectacle. She would still win. With her 5 moves of doom. And one of them is spanking her ass and doing a backflip. She is Cena 2.0 without any of the good qualities Cena had. And despite all that I have said so far about her, there is little to nothing on her end that she has done wrong. This is Triple H's responsibility. I know that Vince also allowed this, but they're all guilty of enabling this. Should have kept her NXT character. She should have spent more time learning how to talk clearly and slowly on the mic. She should have spent more time to refine her in-ring abilities. They should have spent more time to think of intriguing angles for her. Does her looks and athleticism make up for all that? Not really. There are many people inside and outside of WWE that can do what she can do. Chris Statlander is a prime example. She can do 450s, she can do amazing feats of strength. What she has going for her is that she is younger than Bianca by a handful of years, she is more refined as a technical worker, and she has shown more creativity in terms of what she wants her character to be. The problem is, her boss is Tony Khan. Now back to Bianca. I totally understand the whole black girls can see themselves rah-rah speech, but nobody relates to a superwoman that has no weaknesses and then can beat 3 women up at a time and wears designer clothes each week. Superheroes can be relatable to everyday people. Some have flaws. Batman is too stubborn, he trusts the wrong people at times. Peter Parker has multiple jobs and is always poor. Wolverine is short, has psychological issues, and can't swim. Bianca has no weaknesses. Being a black woman is not a weakness. If anything, it's a privilege because it made her the face of the female side of the entire company. No character development. For the past 2 or 3 years it's been the same song and dance. I'm the best, I'm the greatest. I'm a black woman who just wants to be loved despite being the best and greatest. Anyway, I'm the best, I'm the greatest. That's what all her character is in a nutshell. She has no goals unless her goal is to make the product worse. She certainly nailed that goal. That poor girl, bless her soul, I could never imagine having to lose my mother and have to perform at WrestleMania later that day, but even she has more character than Bianca does. Her story sounds far more intriguing than any storyline WWE has had with Bianca. Tamira Mensah's stock didn't even need to sign a WWE contract to already have more character than Bianca. She's an Olympic inspiration that Bianca pretends to be. Bianca looks like a cheap over-promoted imitation compared to her. Now granted, we won't know what will happen with Tamira, but between her and Bianca, Tamira is the one that you should try to blindly push to the moon. Triple H knew he wanted to do that with Bianca at the very start, and it failed because his plan was awfully conceptualized and awfully executed. They always have to pump in fake crowd noise every week for Bianca. And when they have the camera film those wide shots of the crowd when her music starts to play, nobody jumps out of their seat. Every time there is an EST chant during one of her promos, it's so sudden and cranked up at 150 decibels, and you can easily tell they're fake because everybody in the crowd is calm and sitting still. It's so blatantly obvious how much this company is trying to deny that she is failing to get over. And Bryan Alvarez is a phony anti-WWE pro-Tony Khan activist, but he is right. While we're here, though, let's also talk about Brittany Abrahams, the female writer suing WWE and Vince McMahon over racist allegations. Brittany Abrahams is an SJW type. Brittany Abrahams is why you do not hire SJWs, because when you want to fire them, they will try to harm your company as a result. I think her case is frivolous. If she just wanted her job back after being fired for taking an event chair, then okay. But all this other stuff brought up in the lawsuit is very petty and very ignorant. Apollo Crews is not the first entertainer that had to speak in a Nigerian accent. How does this help her case when her business is all about writing for the entertainment industry? There have been so many clips shared on Twitter of promos and backstage segments from 15 to 20 years ago that people today think are racist, but all I can think of is, remember when WWE used to be entertaining? Remember when everybody had backbones and understood it was a scripted program with all kinds of goofy stereotypes for the purpose of making audiences elicit a reaction? Remember when comedy movies were all full of stereotypes and it made actors like Eddie Murphy and Chris Tucker into must-see stars? Now the entertainment world has to change for all the people that don't appreciate it.